name's Mari Holthouse, and I'm the president of the Grown Locally Cooperative, and I'm also one of the farmers on KYMAR Acres. My husband farms with me. Grown Locally has been in business for 10 years, and we aggregate produce from right now 30 farmers and distribute it to distributors, restaurants, institutions, things of that sort. We don't sell directly to any end users, vegetables, but we also sell meats, herbs, eggs, things of that sort. It's not just produce. We ran into a lot of obstacles because the farmers were running it ourselves. We didn't have any third-party coordinators at the time, and so we ran into a lot of time crunches where we were trying to sell and to grow vegetables, and it didn't work the best for us at the time because when it was raining, we could call people, but if it was nice, we wanted to be picky, not calling and selling stuff. So as the co-op grew, bringing in a third-party coordinator employee was the best thing for the co-op at the time. On KYMAR Acres, it's a 15-acre farm here in Winneshiek County, and I also have a tax business where I'm a CPA and I just do taxes in the spring season. Well, originally I was a CPA by training. I went to college and got my accounting degree and got a job at a CPA firm, but it wasn't local and I didn't want to drive so far, so I stopped working there. And I became self-employed just by the fact that there was no other work. And at that time, I wasn't very busy because I was just a new accountant. And so my husband wanted to farm. We had just bought the 15 acres about the same time. And we did try a couple of years conventional farming with a combine, but it was very difficult to get it through the gate. We don't have much land, and it's not very well built for combining the large equipment. So we decided, we met with Michael Nash, and Solveig Hansen was involved. But they're the ones that developed Grown Locally, and at that time we were not going to be vegetable farmers. It hadn't even entered into our mind. But we only have 8 acres of tillable ground, so it was pretty much the only thing we could do efficiently with our land. And we don't own anything more than the 15 acres, and we weren't looking to buy more land. So we wanted to really wanted to farm. So at that time we had vegetables and hogs. We farrowed 100 sows about until the corn price got really high about 3 years ago. Now we no longer have sows. Well, we're going to grow because we have a lot of larger accounts and we're actually short on farmers. We could sell a lot more produce even in northeast Iowa than we have farmers producing. We're running into trouble with the having food safety issues with the farmers where they're not GAP certified, where some of our customers want them to be GAP certified. So we're having a growing pains. Like this year, we're working on trying to find farmers that are ready to step into GAP certification before they, that's good agricultural practices, before that we can sell to these large distributors. But I think we're going to grow, and we're expecting the co-op and the board are discussing growing strategies and how we want to grow, but we're certainly not hit our peak yet, that's for certain. Well, we grow from everything from flowers to vegetables and herbs. We also have a laying flock, so we have eggs. And we sell, and through Grown Locally was originally where we sold to, and I had started going to farmers market to get the surplus or things I was learning to grow. Like if I wanted to learn how to grow broccoli, I didn't grow it enough to sell to Grown Locally because it was in such small quantities, but it was more than we could eat. So we started going to farmers market, and that's when we brought Anna, my employee, on so she could do farmers market now, so I don't have to go. And actually that's half of our work now. We do farmers market and Grown Locally. And we also have just started a sales shed on our farm here, so we can do on-farm sales. We do most of our plants. We do a lot of started plants and things in the spring, and so we have most of our sales go through the farm stand. And we're hoping to get word out, and if we can work with the state and getting signage on the state highway, some way to have more vegetable sales throughout the summer here.
Okay.
Well, we gardened a lot as kids. I actually hated it until I was about 18. Gardening and weeding and things, but at that time I realized it's really great. And growing up farming and gardening, we didn't necessarily market garden, but there was 6 kids, so could have just as well have been market gardening. And it was very large gardens, and it was very interesting to me how things grew and planting. So I had that basic knowledge, but I went to a lot of Moses training, the organic I think it's in La Crosse. Went to a lot of those trainings early on to grow up to the next level. And then all sorts of other trainings. ISU Extension puts on classes on how to grow certain types of vegetables or things, and we'll go to that. There's a lot of things that I've learned from a lot of people, but no one in particular, I guess. The reason our co-op lasted as long as it did is we grew very slowly for a number of years because we required all of the membership to agree on any major decisions. And it took a lot to get anything done. But that also kept us together, so in those early years we knew what everyone wanted to do for the, how we wanted to grow and what our positions were. And it's really important in a co-op type situation that everyone kind of understands the goals of the co-op, because you can't have too many people expecting that they're going to get the benefit of this. They're not going to win this battle. It's all got to be cooperative. Every farmer has to work together. That's important. Other than that, we work with a lot of nutritionists and dietitians that helped us figure out how to work with the institutions and how to get our food to them and know what type of food that they're going to really want. And also to work with those institutions the dietitian did early on to help us get into those markets and learn how to sell to them. Otherwise, I think just regular, the ISU extension and all of those things have helped, not necessarily the co-op maybe, but all of the farmers in general. Lately there's been a lot of help with the good agricultural practices and the food safety and all of that. It's not necessarily for the co-op, but it helps the co-op because all the farmers get to learn from that stuff. As you know, I'm an accountant, so I'm kind of risk averse, so I don't like it. So we started very small and only ran with a walk-behind tiller that we borrowed from my parents early on. And then we moved up and we did buy a tractor after we had decided we'd sell enough stuff. So we have an AGCO tractor with a 3-point tiller. So that's our equipment that we use, and we just build very slowly. We are only growing and building things that we can afford as we build it. I really don't want to take out any more debt to operate. I'd like to be cash-based. That's my goal. There are certain things we have to borrow for. If for some terrible reason our market van dies, we'll probably have to borrow to replace it. But I'm a very slow mover. When we first started, we had an acre. We're up to 4 or 5, but it's just very methodical. We built this greenhouse over the spot where we had a 12 by 24 greenhouse. We just started with a small one, and until we outgrew that, then we built a bigger one. I like to grow slowly. Because we've been doing this for 10 years now, and so we're almost to the point now where we're not building anything else we need. We're starting to build stuff we'd like to have. So it's very exciting. I'm a big proponent of starting small. So give yourself a really large kitchen garden that first year and sell the extra at farmer's market. Because if you don't know anything about growing vegetables and jumping into it, it's a lot more difficult, I think. You can probably grow it and raise it, but knowing when to pick it and how to pack it and make sure it stays once you've picked it. But I'm also a slow grower. I'm not one for starting out big. I think it's very important to know what level, where you think you need to be successful. Because I don't ever want to grow 40 acres of vegetables. I would be happy with 5 to 10. And not having too many employees, maybe just a couple, maybe summer employees once the kids are older and not here to help. But I don't want to be huge and have a lot of growers. So to me, success is being able to continue on at my level and sell everything I grow. Where another person's success would be, they want to have their 40 acres and 10, 15 employees and sell across the, region. So I think it's important to know where you think you need to be successful.